So let me go into the application that you can see on screen here. So this is what's called 8x8 work. So this is more on the UC side, so the Unified Communications side of the product. The interface that would be used for contact center looks a little bit different. This is mine. This is live, which is always risky on that one. So if I go around sort of like clock face, I'll start top left-hand corner. My little icon there. Hopefully you can see that. Let me make that full screen. Might help a little bit. So without diving into too much detail around it, that's obviously my details against there. I'm in a do not disturb situation at the moment because I'm in a meeting. Obviously I can make myself available, busy, away. Away would click in if, let's say, you had got yourself in a position where you'd stepped away from your desk, maybe taking another call on a mobile device, for example. After maybe 20 minutes, it'll set you into an away state, so it detects there's no activity on the desktop, and it'll put you into that state if you wanted to. You don't obviously have to do that against that. Lots of different things like caller ID. I only have one number, that's my DDI on there, but you could present different numbers when you call out. So if you wanted to call out using a particular campaign number, you could do that. If you want to hide your CLI, again, you can do that by having multiple numbers in there if you wish. I just have the one on mine. Needless to say, lots of things around account settings, help in terms of how you can actually jump into things like keyboard shortcuts, frequently asked questions, how you use the user interface. There's online training videos that will link you to an 8x8 training portal, so it'll take you through the relevant information on there. So that's how it does. Obviously, mine, every time you come out of a state, if you're in DND, it always warns you, so you're not trying to go into meetings and still sat on that. First thing on here then would be from a telephony side. So these are all of the calls that I've either made or missed today. So from Will tried to call me just before the presentation, so I didn't take that call, so it flags in red. I can call Will straight back. I could go in and I could send Will a message if I wanted to against that. Again, missed calls, pretty much the same sort of thing. Obviously, missed a call from Will, from Scott, and so on. I can go in, click them, or message them directly through the system. And if I've got any voicemails, I've got one showing on there. It's highlighted in the black figures there from Mandy. So again, I need to go in and listen to that one. The others below it, I've listened to. I've just left them in my voicemail box for now. Again, I can leave them there for playing back at a later date, or of course I can delete those off there if I wanted to. Contacts, pretty straightforward. These are my contacts. So this is synchronized with we use Google. So this is my Google contacts. So that's brought all of my Google contacts into here. We've got the company contacts against them. So this is everybody broken down. In my case, I've just filtered this by location. You've got some different options here. So you can go in, just give me everything, or by department. So if you're not too sure who works in support, I can go in, search on support, and they'll bring me back somebody or the group of people that work in the support area. So I can go in by department, and I can go to the accounting. I can see anybody that's available in these areas. So you see the names against them. Down in accounting, green dot next to Agatha would mean that she's available at the moment. Both, obviously I can call her. If she's on a call, it'll turn red, get a little red phone symbol against it. So I could message her if I wanted to do that against there. So that's full sort of telephony side. In the center of the screen there, you need to say you've got a dial pad. I don't use that a great deal, I have to say. So most of the calls I make will be from my contacts list. So if I was calling Jonathan, he's in my contacts. I'll just call him from there. I'll just highlight the number and dial it. If it's on an email, I'll highlight the number and dial it. If it's a web page, same. So not something I would particularly use unless it's a number I didn't know previously. And somebody's given it me on a piece of paper, then yes, I might use the dial pad. Typically, to get it right and speed, I'm always going to highlight and dial it that way. Next section here would be in the contacts side, so in the messaging side. So again, this is live on here, so I've got various ones. I've clicked on Will, so it's added him in there. I can have up to 9 of these boxes on the right hand side active at any one time. So these are chat messages that people have put in. You can see that they're live against there. Some of these are room based. So the concept of rooms is that's one to many. Rooms can be public or private. So I can have a private room and only the people I invite into that room would get to see that information that's published in those particular rooms. A public room, anybody can gain access to and get the information against it if they wanted to. So You can see down here, for example, I've got X series, which is the product. If I click on that, that's a public room. And this is all the information that people have put in about the X series. One of my options on there is I can go in and search. So I could go in and search on, I don't know, the X4 license. It'll bring me back every time X4 was mentioned in any of these conversations. So what this does is it saves me having to go and ask the question that 25 people have asked beforehand. Has somebody else already asked it? What was the response from it? I can go in and I can see it. Some people have even put links in there. If I wanted to against any of these, I could actually go in and copy that text if it was relevant to pass on to a partner. Clearly some of this is internal, so that wouldn't necessarily be the case against it. We've got some little avatars against some of the rooms against here. That's something we introduced quite recently. I'm pretty sure we've got one against them here for our friends at Britannic. There we go. So I've got a little avatar against Britannic, which is there. So it just makes it easier for me to go into and actually pick Britannic out as a room that I've created, and the relevant people that we need to discuss anything relevant to Britannic would sit inside of there. So these are live and constant chat messages. We probably use this more than email. As you can see, I'm part of the UK CAM team here, and the icon there means I can attach files, videos, can go into here as well. So if you were using this on a mobile device, this is my desktop. It looks and feels exactly the same on the mobile device. And you're out at site and you need to take a picture of something, you can do that, attach it, put it in the relevant project team room if that's what you needed to do, and send it in, and people would pick it up against there. So it's not just about chat in there, it's about adding documentation, and obviously I can go back over any time period to pull those out. Any of the numbers, by the way, you see like the 53 and 951, that means messages that I've not read. So I just set mine up so it alerts. Clearly I can go in and close those down if I wanted to. It shows me what's available in those rooms that I've not yet gone in and actually looked at. So these are really good. So if you've got conversations going on with individuals, if I was talking to Lisa, I can have a room set up with Lisa, and then I can also have one set up with Ron Booth, and I can watch them at the same time, so I can see information coming in across them both rather than having to close one and open one all the time. That's why we have up to 9 active windows at any one time. So this is really useful for us to be able to go into. If you don't like all of that in there, of course you can just close all this right down and just have one showing at any one time. You'll notice the same icons in the top right here as well, so I can phone Ron. Ron's actually free, I can see that because the little green icon says he's working from home. I could go in and just go straight into a video call. If I click that, Ron would get a message to say, Nick's trying to bring you into a video meeting, would you want to do that? He answers yes, and then we join each other in that room if that's what we're looking to do. And then across the bottom here is the video one. So this is where we have video meetings. And if I can go in onto this one, we can look at how the cameras work against it. So we can see where the information comes in. So clearly in the middle of the screen here, typically that would have a camera on it. So we can see on that particular one there, you've got me, very large on the screen. So this will host up to 100 people at any one time. So 100 people in any video meetings solution. If you go above that, we do something similar to what we're doing now with Britannic. So we would take this into a YouTube streaming environment. So that's how you would use that against that. So if I was to, let's say, start a meeting, clearly I'm going to be the only one that's actually in there. Then this gives me some different options across the bin. I won't take my mic off. It warns me that I'm muted. Famous words that everyone's using in pandemic is you're on mute. It tells me, it senses the microphone and pops up a warning for me. Gone through some of these instructions on the left. They're exactly the same against here in terms of how you actually use it. Bottom left-hand corner, I've got the ability to go in and send messages. So if I send one there, that would literally send it to all the people that were in the meeting room. If I had 10 people in there, I could pick individuals out and have sidebar conversations with them if I wanted to. So only they see the message, not everybody else against it. Share screen, pretty much what we're doing now. So I can go in and share my screen, or I can share an application. So I don't have to share the whole screen. I can just share an application. So if you're concerned about people seeing what else you might have open at any one time, I can go in and just say, right, just share the particular application. Raise my hand. If I click on that, you'll see in the top corner up here, a little blue icon has appeared. So I've raised my hand, and it's telling the person that's running the meeting that I'm looking to ask a question against it. They can drop it for me, or I can drop that against it if I wanted to. The two C's on there is a ticker tape that will appear. So it's essentially subtitles. So if you were in a meeting, but maybe not in a position where you wanted the audio on all the time, you click that and it'll put the subtitles across the bottom. It'll translate what somebody is saying. So it'll put that for you across the bottom. Clearly, if you record the meetings as well, it'll put that information there for you. So you've got that to go back and refer to if you wanted to. So we can put the subtitles across the bottom. Bottom there, microphone. Obviously, mine's switched off. I'm using a separate mic on this one. I can drop the meeting call, and I can swap in and out of which camera I might be using against that. So I can switch my camera off like that. It'll just put my avatar. So I'll leave it like that for the moment. Across the bottom here, the little person icon. This gives me the ability to invite people into the meeting. So whether that's internal or external, I can send them the link. So if it was, let's say, Jonathan I wanted to add in, that's my meeting link. So I just copy that, email it to Jonathan. He clicks on the link and he comes straight into the meeting. Now, every meeting is secure on this, because the way I set mine up is every meeting has a different code associated with it. So there's no danger of sending that out and somebody accidentally clicks on it 2 weeks later and then joins me and Jonathan in a meeting. That won't happen because of the way I've set mine up. If somebody just needs to dial in, then there's the dial in options for them across the bottom of the screen there as well. In addition to that, we've got the 3 dots. 3 dots always means that there's more on here. So manage call quality. I'm on high def. At the moment, it would typically default to that. If somebody was struggling with audio, or we'd normally say, well, okay, if it's a bit choppy, take the video off. And if it's still not quite sort of optimal, then you can drop this right down. So it goes audio only. It would straight away drop the video off. So it starts at high def, but you can change that accordingly across there. Live stream is how we take that into something like YouTube. So if you wanted to do a session like we've got today, then you could do a live stream there. I can record all of these calls, all these meetings. So start record, and it'll save that for me as we're doing this one today. You can play that back at your own time. I've got an option there to share YouTube video. So if I've got a YouTube video, maybe 8x8 training video, or how our application works, I can bring that straight in. Quite a good one is being able to mute everybody when somebody doesn't realise that they've got their microphone on. I can mute everybody that's in the meeting. I can also set my meetings up where it starts with everybody muted as well. So you've got that flexibility there. Speaker stats, well, as I'm the only one in here, it would only show me. But again, if you wanted to see who's been contributing to a meeting, you can click on the speaker stats to see who's adding to it and so on. Nice little things there, I would say, is like shortcuts. So we've got some quick ones on there. I quite like the space bar across here. So it says transmit. Essentially, if you're on mute, whilst you hold the space bar down, you can talk. As soon as you release the space bar, you're back on mute. So it gives you that option if you're just trying to add bits in, but you don't want to keep coming on and off the mic, clicking it. You just hit the space bar and you're on and off. Nice simple things like the thumbnails for everybody that's on there. If you want to show them or hide them, click F. If you want to start and stop your camera, V for video, click the V button and it'll take your video off the screen. So nice and intuitive the way that works. Top right hand side here, you can see I've got a little avatar. Obviously, if there are more people in the meeting, there would be more of those below there. Got a green icon, which is good because it's showing that my connection is a good quality one. The next one below that, it would drop down to amber, then red, and then grey. Grey would mean that the person's probably lost connection, but you can instantly see in a meeting if somebody's in difficulties. Then we'd suggest, look, switch your video off, drop the connection down to voice only. That might help with the connection on it, because again, these things are only going to be as good as the connection that somebody has got against there. So that's a kind of quick show through on how the actual screen works. So this is what we would use from a telephony side. From a meetings side, you can take the meeting side as a separate one. So if you want to have meeting rooms, literally with sort of iPads and large screens in them, you can do that as well. But meetings is built into the 8x8 solution as standard. The look and feel of this is my desktop. So how I run it, I don't use a physical handset You can use physical handsets if you want. We've actually just gone past the 65% mark of people that don't buy handsets net new. So we're absolutely seeing that shift with people not wanting to make that investment necessarily. So, 35% or so do, 65% are quite happy to have it as a desktop speakerphone headset. And again, I think that the recent change in the world has certainly driven that forward. Also comes as a mobile app. I say comes as, you get that as part of the X series. So it's not an either or, you get both. So we're seeing lots of organizations will take this and they find it extremely useful to say, well, we don't need a physical handset here. We can use a mobile device. We can use a tablet, an iPad. We've recently just introduced this with Fire tablets as well. So you can make far more use out of one of those devices, and a lot of the time they're probably cheaper than a physical handset as well. But look, not to knock handsets. If you want them, it works with handsets as well. But this is using the desktop interface for it.